Cowgirls Don't Cry, a true story. You always hear people talk about how life is such a delicate thing, or about how life is too short, so make the most of it while you can. I hear these phrases and I feel an uncomfortable aching overcome me and I tremble inside a little. I don't just understand the context of these phrases, I understand them because I've lived them.
Proof tonight that you can't keep one 5-year-old cowgirl down. You probably heard her story. Kylie Johnson was involved in a horse accident last week where she was severely kicked.
At 5 years old, there were few things I loved more than my horse, Angel. Every day, I would run off through the green pastures out to her corral, dragging behind my grandfather or my dad. I learned to pitch hay, mix her special feed, brush and bathe her, and on this particular day, I was going to learn to lead her. I had been waiting for this moment for what seemed like forever. Everyone had come out to the corrals on this day to watch as I firmly took Angel's lead rope and circled her around the pen. My mother, grandmother, and grandfather stood outside the corral as my dad walked me in and helped get Angel all ready. He held the rope and walked Angel around the pen with me the first few times. After it seemed like I had the hang of it, my father gave me the full reins and stepped off to the corner of the pen. No words could describe the pride and thrill that were surging through my tiny body in those few moments. It seemed as if nothing could ever top this moment. By about the 6th time I had led Angel around the pen, a loud noise nearby had erupted. Angel became spooked, and I knew in that very moment I had to break away from her. Everything became slow motion as I dropped her lead, spotted my dad in the corner of the pen, took off running and screamed, "Daddy!" He opened his arms up to me, but it was too late.
But when the horse's hooves met little Kylie's back, it was big trouble.
Yeah, she went in and out of consciousness, and she did lose some breathing, and which came back. And
Cherish Johnson says her daughter was leading Angel when the horse spooked, kicking the little girl to the ground and leaving Mom fearing the worst.
That I lost my daughter, that she was hurt severely or had a lot of inside bleeding or whatever.
But a helicopter trip and an overnight stay in a Valley hospital proved Kylie was one tough little cowgirl.
The evening of my accident, I was airvac from the scene where I had been knocked out of consciousness. For the next 24 hours, I would be in and out of consciousness, gasping for air and needing assistance to breathe. When I had finally awoken for good, I found myself dazed, confused, bruised, and in a lot of pain in my back. My memory was pretty foggy, and I could only remember pieces from the post-accident, so much of what happened had to be explained to me by my mother. I was eventually able to journey from my hospital bed to the bathroom, and for the first time after the accident, caught a glance of myself. There were multiple gashes and bruises covering my body. Tears began to stream down my cheeks. I turned in the mirror and opened my gown to take a look at my back where much of the pain was emulating. There was one large hoof print between my spine and ribs and another on my lower back. I began sobbing as I was terrified and utterly shocked at how something I loved so much could cause so much damage and pain. My mother rushed into the bathroom and carried me back to my bed, rubbing my head and whispering comforting words into my ear. As she sat me down, she caressed my face and looked me in the eyes, saying, "You know, Sweet Pea, you're actually quite lucky to be here. The doctor said that if Angel would have stepped 1/16 of an inch either way, she would have broken your spine and your ribs. But God was watching over you, you know. You're here, alive and well. Let's dry up those tears, baby girl, 'cause remember, cowgirls." I stopped her in the middle of her sentence and said, "Cowgirls don't cry, Mama." She smiled at me and pulled me in close. To this day, I reflect on these moments, and while many people talk about how delicate life is, I can personally attest to it. At age 5, I learned 2 very important things. Never take for granted a breath you breathe, and cowgirls don't cry.
Ride, baby, ride. Lessons of life are gonna show you in time. Soon enough, you're gonna know why. It's If you fall